I just picked up a brand new Tesla Model Y and I didn't have to pay anything. And that's because, well, a bit of a trick here. This is not my car. This is a 48-hour test drive. So I get this car to do really whatever I want with for the next 2 days. Tesla started offering these 48-hour drives a few months ago. At first, it was a little bit more exclusive. You kind of had to be invited. They would send you a text and you can come in and schedule your drive. I got one of these texts, but I'll talk about that in a second. Now though, it's pretty simple and it's just like scheduling any other test drive. It's just that now instead of the typical test drive form, there's also a 48-hour option. And now actually there's even a 24-hour option. So you've got a bunch of ways to test a new Tesla. So yeah, if you are in the market for a new Tesla and you really want to know what it is like to live with, this is probably the best option to go with. Before, you would have to either rent something or just do a quick test drive, but this, you really get to experience what it's like to live with a car. And that really makes the buying decision a lot easier. And it's convinced me that the Model Y is probably the best car for the most people. Now, a few things to keep in mind when signing up. First is that depending on where you live, how busy it is in your area, you're probably going to have to wait quite a while to actually get this test drive. So when I scheduled mine, it was a month in advance. And so I scheduled this in June, but wasn't able to actually try it out until July. And so that's something definitely to keep in mind if you're in the market for a car. If you're in a deadline or you have a tight schedule, you might not be able to even test this with the 48-hour option before you need to buy. It is going to likely be quite a ways out. And of course, this is going to depend on your area and the car that you choose. I did the Model Y, which arguably would probably be the most popular right now. Now, once you schedule it, well, it's just like any other test drive. You just wait for your date and time and then you show up. Now, what's it actually like to, do this whole process and once you get the car? Well, like I said, once you arrive at the Tesla dealer, they check you in and really it's just like any other test drive. You just get it for quite a bit longer. Tesla has really updated their test drive, process and procedure. And one of the best updates they've done recently, and this includes this in the 48-hour test drive, is being able to use your phone as your key. So they do give you a key card, but you don't actually need it. You have your phone that you can use as if this was your car. So I can, toggle the climate if I want. I can do summon features. I can pretty much do everything as if I own this car. And then once I return it, it will just disappear from my app. And so because of that, this does give you a very native experience, but it doesn't come without its quirks. And one of the main quirks is that when you get into the car every single time, the car will essentially reset itself to whatever the factory setting is. So in this case, the climate goes to 70. You get this manual for the test drive that pops up every single time. It will delete anything you have done in terms of settings. So if I want to try autopilot, I have to reset it every single time. And I have to re-enter my phone if I want to listen to audio. All of this stuff is fine if it's a regular test drive, but because it's 2 days, it is a bit of a quirk. It's not a big deal. It's still not my car. So of course it has to reset, but it would be nice if it could be at the end of the test drive instead of every single time I get in the car, just because, 2 days can be a while. But hey, that's just one little quirk. Now, the car is the car that you would be buying. So I think this is a really smart idea from Tesla. It really lets the customer get behind the wheel and see if this is the car they want. And along with that, it also lets you know, hey, maybe there are some accessories I want to get so that when I take delivery, I'm ready to go. And well, one of the first accessories to look at are new floor mats, especially these from our sponsor, 3W. 3W offers premium floor mats for Model 3, Model X, Model S, Model Y, and other cars as well. But if you have ever been in a Tesla, you know that their floor mats that they include aren't really the best. And if you use them for a long period of time, they're probably gonna get destroyed. So getting some third-party options is definitely the way to go. When I had my Tesla, that's exactly what I did, and it really does make a big difference. But 3W gives you the option of having full protection. So not only do you get floor mats, but you can also have a trunk mat. You can have protection for the backs of your seat when you lay them flat. You even get a front floor mat. And these are all meticulously laser scanned so that they fit your car perfectly. You don't have to worry about fitment or anything like that. The only thing you might see is that when you pull them out of the box, they might be folded. So you just gotta wait a little bit for those to flatten out. But other than that, you are good to go. And because of that scanning, the floor mats in particular do a ton of protection. So they actually cover your footrest and they go up the sides a bit so that if you're tracking in dirt, well, the floor mat collects it all rather than it getting into your carpet. And these are using 3W's Vigor mold. Basically, this means that it's going to last and keep its shape for decades to come. So you don't have to worry about it like starting to flop. It should keep its shape and in turn, keep your car clean. But inevitably, when they do get dirty, as floor mats do, well, when you need to clean them, they're super easy to clean because they're made of a patented Thorax material. You can just hose them off. Dust, dirt, sand, snow, really anything you track into your car is going to get collected. And then when you need to bring it out, it's very easy to do. And so these instantly upgrade your Model Y or any other car that you add them to because they give you that protection and they fit nearly perfectly. So you don't even notice that they are there. They just kind of do their job in the background, which is what you want from floor mats. So if you just picked up your car or you're looking for a new way to spice it up, definitely check out 3W floor mats. They're great, and I'll leave a link down in the description along with a nice little discount code for you. But this is where I had a bit of an issue with this whole process. If you'll indulge me for a second, I'm just gonna give you my little test drive horror story. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a bit of an annoyance on Tesla's. And like I said, I actually got one of those text messages back when they started doing the 48-hour test drives. And in that message, it said that I had to go in to actually get this scheduled. And while my Tesla dealership is relatively close to me, so I was like, hey, let's go do this. It sounds like a cool thing to try. But the first annoyance was when I went there, my rep there said, hey, you didn't have to come in. You can just schedule that on your own. In fact, you have to schedule it on your own. They weren't able to do that for me. So that was a little bit of an annoyance because that didn't match what the text said, but hey, whatever, I was fine. I was already there. I went ahead and scheduled it while I was standing there. And at this time, because it was so early, well, I was actually able to do it for just like a week in advance. It didn't take that long at all. And so I added it to my calendar directly from the invitation. My schedule was 10 a.m. pickup all the way until 10 a.m. drop off 2 days later. And so I just had to wait for the day to come up. And well, it did. I went back in and checked in with one of the reps there. They checked me in, and then this is where the kind of annoying part happened. They said, oh no, this is actually just a regular test drive. It's not a 48-hour test drive. Even though the reservation I had was definitely 48 hours, it added it to my calendar automatically as a 48-hour test drive. The time on the rep's computer, which I was looking at because we were trying to figure this out, said 10 a.m. to 10 a.m., but she was just insistent that this was a regular test drive. And well, I know it wasn't, but that was a bit of an annoyance. And really, obviously, it's just a test drive. Who really cares? It's not a big deal. But the real issue there was if I was in the market for a car and this was like my time to test and decide if the Tesla is what I wanted, well, then I wouldn't have been able to do that because when I wanted to then reschedule, it was now a month in advance. It was going to take quite a while. So if I was in that tight time frame, well, Tesla kind of lost a customer there, theoretically at least. That's my sob story. I know it's kind of silly. It's just a test drive itself. But hey, that is my experience with this 48-hour test drive. And I think depending on the rep that you get, if they don't exactly know how the system works, you could run into an issue. I'm just saying that because, well, it happened to me. I don't think it will, but it's possible. Aside from that, there's really only a few rules. I mean, obviously it's a test drive, so it's not your car. You want to treat it as such. So that's, I think that goes without saying. But the only kind of other rule is that, well, one, there is a speed limiter, which I think makes sense. And you can only go 200 miles, which for 48 hours and a test drive is plenty. So I didn't even come close to that in the time I had the car. But other than that, I asked my rep, like, hey, what do I do? Is there anything I need to do? Is there anything I have to do or anything I can't do? And he just said, no, just take it. I said, can I charge? And he said, yeah, go supercharge. It's free. All of that stuff was pretty simple. It seems like there's really not many rules with the car. Just, be respectful of it. And well, that's it. But once you have the car, I mean, just treat it as your car. And so that's exactly what I did. I did all of our errands. We did a Target run. We went to the mall. We went to church. All the stuff that we normally do, we just did it now in this car. And even so far as we went to the supercharger to test out supercharging, all the stuff that you would do if you had this car as your own, you can do it. And that's kind of the whole point here. Okay, so what else is there to know about this 48-hour test drive? And really, there's only one other thing, and it's that right now they are limited to one per customer. And it seems like that happened because many people just went in, like spammed the button and did as many as they could. And well, Tesla seems to have stopped that. And really what that means is that, you should treat this as a real test drive and one that, you want to experience the car because maybe you're in the market or you're thinking about being in the market, rather than just using it as an excuse to, get a free car for 2 days. Although maybe that's what I did, but hey, that's not the point here. Going forward, if you want to do this test drive, well, just realize that you might only be able to do one. So choose wisely, choose the car you actually are considering, and, just realize that this might be it for these longer test drives. Although you could still do the shorter ones, but if you're kind of trying to see what it's like to live with this car, you kind of only get one shot. But honestly, if you're looking at the Model Y in specific, the one shot is all you really need because it's a pretty convincing car. Everything about it is just top notch. Honestly, for me, the Model Y has never really been my favorite car. It just always felt a bit too boring, a bit too pedestrian, and I still feel that about the new Model Y. But everything they've done to it, all the changes they've made, have made it just feel like a near perfect car in many different ways. The design on the exterior, I think, is differentiating it from the rest of the Tesla lineup, which I think is very interesting and I think is good. It makes it feel a little bit more unique, even though there's going to be, a million of these on the road. So you might not be unique in that sense, but compared to the rest of the Tesla lineup, the Model Y is very unique. And after driving with it, seeing it in my driveway, and just living with it, the design has definitely grown on me. I really do enjoy the way this car looks. And the interior upgrades that we first saw back with the Model 3 Highland, I mean, these are just excellent. Having the cooled seats, especially in the hot days that we've been having here in Utah. The interior lighting, the new steering wheel, I mean, everything about the interior feels top notch. And they also have the turn signal stock, so you don't have to worry about buttons on the steering wheel. Personally, I can take it either way, but if you're coming from a car that, has stocks, which is pretty much every car, well, you are going to like this. But the selling feature of this car, by far, is full self-driving. It is so good these days. And if you get behind the wheel of this and you can use it for like 2 days, if you've never used it before, or maybe it hasn't been something you've used all that often, you get behind the wheel and it literally just drives itself. And it is shocking how good it actually is. And it makes sense that in the Model Y in particular, it's going to be the most solid because this is going to be Tesla's most popular model. It's what they're using for their robo-taxis right now. The Model Y is an integral part of Tesla's future plan, and so it really needs to be dialed in, and well, it is. And so yeah, the Model Y as it sits right now is an excellent package. You get the long-range battery, you can get your rear-wheel or all-wheel drive options, and pretty soon we should be seeing the performance Model Y as well as a lower-end budget Model Y. We know these cars are coming. We've seen the spy shots of the performance model, and we've also, got confirmation from Elon himself that the budget model they're working on is in fact a Model Y just stripped down a bit. And then over in China, Tesla is going to be offering a larger Model Y, which is going to have more room on the inside. It's much closer to a Model X than the Model Y we have here. And so there's no doubt that the Model Y is kind of the car for Tesla. Once all the models are finally released, maybe later this year, we're going to have the budget model, we're going to have the regular car, we're going to have the larger car, and then we're going to have the performance. That's a lot of Model Ys, but this is kind of the Tesla. So that is everything you need to know about the Tesla 48-hour test drive. And this really does change the buying experience. You really get to experience what it's like to live with this car. Before, you would have to either rent one from someone or you would have to just do a short 30-minute test drive. You could get a taste for the car, but now you really can, decide if this fits into your life in every single way possible. And it really did change the buying experience. And now the only question is, am I going to buy one of these for myself?